All right, so we have 238 products of array except self. And essentially in this question, you're given array nums and then you return array answer, which array answer is just everything. So you're multiplying everything except nums at I. So if you're iterating through this list, nums at I is 1, and you multiply everything, and then that's equal to output. So in this case, answer at I. And then the same thing for this. Everything except 2 is multiplied, and then you get 12. And that's pretty much how that works. So now let's look at it here in the Blackboard, where we have answer is equal to, nums is equal to 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And then the answer array that we're returning in this case is 24, 12, 8, and then 6. And how this question is working and how we want to solve it is that we want to get the left values of nums, so the left values of nums, and then we want to get the right values of nums and essentially multiply them times each other. So how this works is we want to start here, right? These are the two arrays. Let's make them a little, let's make them a little wider. Like this, right? And so how this works is we go to nums and we start at the second value because we want to go through the left or the left numbers. So how this would look like is we start at 2. Well, with the first one, we start here because there's nothing to the left, right? So there's nothing here. And what's to the left of 2? The left of 2 is 1. Right? Now, what's to the left of 3? It's 2. And what we want to do is multiply 2 times the previous value, which is 1. So that would be 2. And then lastly, we stop at 4. So what's to the left of 4? It's 3. So 3 times 2, which is the previous value here, is 6. Now, essentially, we were just looping through nums, but we were starting at I is equal to 1, and we were ending at the length, right? The length is equal to 4 in this case, and we stop at the length. So essentially, if we were to do it in a for loop, so for I in range 1 and then length. That's pretty much what we did right there. And we could set this to 1, right? Just to hold the value. And now we want to start on the right. And how do we loop through this? How do we loop through this if we were to start on the right? And essentially, it's the same thing, but you start at 4. Actually, you start 1. You start at 2, right? You start here. Since to the right of 4 is nothing. So since there's nothing, we're just going to set it to 1. But we start here since 4 has nothing to the right. And what's to the right of 3? It's 4. So we set this. What's to the right of 2? It's 3. So 3 times 4 is 12, right? And then what's to the right of 1? 2. 2 times 12 is 24. And that's pretty much your answer, except lastly, you just multiply them by each other, right? You do this. So 24 times 1 is 24. 12 times 1 is 12. 4 times 2 is 8. And then 6 times 1 is just 6. And as you can see, this is the same over here. Now, how do we do this in code? Essentially, you do the regular loop through, and you get the left values, and then you do the reverse loop, which looks something like this. So for I in range, so in this case, we're starting at, let's do it here. Length is 4, and then we want to start at 2, so then we do length minus 2, right? And essentially, we want to stop right here. We want to stop at 1. And how do we do that? We tell them to stop at -1 so that essentially we're looping through 0 to 2 inclusive. If we're doing it regularly, we're looping through 1 through 3 inclusive. See, we're stopping right before the length in this case, and then here we're stopping right before -1. So we want to stop at -1, and since we're going in reverse, we're decrementing by -1. That's pretty much everything you need to know for this question. And now let's go to the actual code, so then we could just put this into code. And we want to start with our answer. This is what we're returning, and we want to set it to ones. And then how many ones? We're going to set the ones to the length of nums. Oops. Length. Actually, let's just do length here, and then let's set length is equal to length of nums. So it makes it easier. Now we want to loop normally, so for I in range, and then we're starting at 1, and then we're ending at the length. So for I in range, we want to set answer at I. Now let's do this. Let's do, and then answer is equal to, that's how that would look like. And then let's put the indexes so it looks easier to, so it's easier to understand. 1, 2, 3. Now let's do this here. Right? Those are the indexes, and then pretty much answer at I, since we're looping through it, we're starting at 1, index 1. We're starting at index 1. So we're starting here at 2, and then answer is at 1. Now we want to get the left values. So essentially we want to get the left of 2, which is 1. So then how we're going to do this is nums at I minus 1, so the previous value, and then we multiply that times, here in this case, we multiply that times the previous value, which is 1. So 1 times 1, and then let's do it here. So answer at the previous value, I minus 1. So in this case, 1 times 1 is just 1, so we leave this one the same. Now we go to 2. We iterate again. Since we started at 1, now we're at 2, so we're here. So the previous value of 3 is 2, and then the previous value of 1 is 1. So we do 2 times 1, which is 2, and we set that. Sorry. We set that to 2. And then now we're at 4. So the previous value, 3, we multiply times this previous value, which is 2, and then it would be equal to 6. That is our current answer right now. Those are our left values, right? Now, that's pretty much how we do this right now. And now we want to get the right values. How do we do this? Sorry. Now we loop through it in reverse, right? So for I in range, and how we did it before in the blackboard was length minus 2, and then we want to stop at -1, and then we want to decrement by -1 since we're going in reverse. And pretty much how this works is, well, we want to have a right value. So right is equal to, and we want to set the right value to 4. And how do we do that? We do nums, and then this is the right value. So essentially right now, right is equal to 4, right? And now we want to set answer at I. And in this case, since we're going in reverse, let's bring this over here, right? Since we're going in reverse, we're starting at 2, right? Length is 4 minus 2 is 2. So we're starting at 2. And what we want to do is answer at 2, we multiply times 4. So we're getting the right values, right? So answer at 2 is multiply times right, which is 4. And then we get 8. We get 8. And then now we're going to set right. Since we're moving 1 to the left, we're going to move at 1. We're going to set right, and we're going to multiply these numbers. So right times equals nums at I. Yes, nums at I. And that's pretty much it, because now right is equal to, let's bring this over here. So right was 4, and then now it's 4 times 12. I mean, it's 4 times 3, which is 12. And we're at 1. We're at index 1 since we're going in reverse. And so what we want to do is 12 times 1, which is just 12. And then now we're moving 1 to the, we're setting right times this number. So 12 times 2 is 24. We move 1 to the left, and then now we do, let's see here, answer at I. So this is equal to, just multiply this times right. So you're multiplying it times all the right variables, and you get 24. And that should be the answer over here, right? So 24, 12, 8, and 6. So we did it correctly. And that's how this question works. And now we just want to return the answer. Let's fix this up. Right, so we're doing this outside of the for loop, and then now we just return answer. Let's run this. Yeah, and that's how that works. That's how the algorithm works, and that's how the question works. So this is 238, products of array except self.